Fan, short for fanatic, is the one who's screaming their lungs out in sub-0 degree temperatures, still believing when the chips are down, and never, ever giving up on their teams or their players. From the closest seat to the worst one, we want to meet you all. This is the American Fan.
What's going on, sports fans? It's Josh Williams back again with another edition of the American Fan 365 podcast. We have a special guest today, and then we'll introduce him shortly, and then we'll get into some sports topics. But George, this morning was a little rough. It was a little rough.
Why was it rough, Josh?
Well, as I mentioned before, I was gonna head out, start driving Uber this morning, get a good start to the day. Was gonna start at like 8. Get a couple rides in before the show. And, I get a ride. I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and hop in the car, get myself ready to go. I get in the car, first off, I left the car unlocked. That was already mistake number one. But I get in the car, so I'm like, okay, keys are in the car. No, keys aren't in the car. Okay, all right.
Is it a push to start?
Yeah, it's a push to start.
Uh-oh. That's the worst when you push it.
Keys
not detected.
Key not detected. No fob. I get back in the house, and I'm like literally, tearing my house apart. So, after about 10 minutes, I like cancel the ride. Let the lady know, like, hey, I ain't gonna be able to make it. This isn't gonna happen. Long story short, 2 hours go by. I am now encroaching on my time to get to the studio. I get to the point where I'm like resigned to my fate. I got to order an Uber. George is going to have to take me home. I don't know if George has another show after my show. And I throw up the Hail Mary as the woman is getting to my gate. Is it in the couch? Of course it was in the damn couch. So. Well,
you were cuddling last night.
It was a foul. There was a flag on the play for sure. But got here, so that's why I'm a little frazzled. So before I introduce our guest, Brett, if I make any mistakes, just know that I'm coming down from this sadness. But we have Brett Fraser, the Chief Athletes Officer of the Enhanced Games. Now, what are the Enhanced Games? We're gonna have this gentleman explain them to us a little bit more. But Brett, start by introducing yourself and maybe a little bit of your background.
Sure, Josh, thanks for having me. My name is Brett Fraser, Chief Athletes Officer of the Enhanced Games. I grew up in the Cayman Islands before attending school at the University of Florida, where I swam on the college team, and professionally for a few years after that. I participated in 3 Olympics: Beijing 2008, London 2012, and Tokyo 2020. I was a semifinalist in 2 events at the London Olympics, the 200 free and the 100 free. And I was Pan American Games champion in the 200-meter freestyle.
Wait a minute. So when we talked before, we didn't get into your background. So wait, so you're an athlete, you're an Olympic swimmer, not a good swimmer. You're an Olympic swimmer.
That's correct.
Wait, do you have any medals? You said you came in second?
So I won a medal at the Pan American Games, but I semifinaled in 2 events at the London Olympics.
Oh, okay. All right. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And then give us a little bit of background on what are the Enhanced Games, and then we can talk about the 5 sports that you're going to be competing in. That you're going to have athletes compete in, and then go from there.
Sure. So the Enhanced Games is an alternative to the Olympic Games. The boldest part about it is we do not have drug testing. We're going to conduct the games on an annual basis at a dedicated campus. So as to save taxpayer money and be less wasteful of cities' infrastructures, hosting cities' infrastructures, we're creating a new model that is focused on the athletes. We want to build a better environment for athletes to train and participate in, and ultimately be rewarded and be able to live comfortable lifestyles once they perform. We think the current Olympic model is broken. We think there's a lot of misalignment between the parent organization, the IOC, and the athletes. I mean, you can spend 25 years of your time and effort training to make an Olympic team and then win a gold medal. However, being able to, be set financially and live a comfortable life thereafter, after you become the best in the world, is something that just doesn't exist today. So we've set out to understand the inefficiencies of the current model, put athletes first, and then improve upon what the existing option is.
I love it. And then also, so the five sports are track, swimming, gymnastics, combat sports, and what is the fifth one?
Weightlifting.
Weightlifting. Okay.
It's
All
track
right.
and field as well, so it's track and field events.
Track and field, excuse me, track and field. My mistake. And then also, so these are going to be, you're going to have actually some former Olympians compete, as well as regular high level athletes.
So the talent pool is open to everyone. We're encouraging athletes who choose to be enhanced and natural athletes to compete as well. We expect a healthy balance of both, and we think the competition environment is going to be it's going to be that much more exciting having athletes who choose to be enhanced and existing athletes who choose to stay natural. So we're really opening the gates up to individuals who want to have full bodily autonomy and see where they can push their limits of their training and ultimately their competition.
Okay. Now, when you talk about, because I know that steroids, PEDs, they have such a stigma. I know when we spoke before, I was talking about we're gonna have Jose Canseco in the studio coming up, and one of the questions I want to ask him is, he was the original person that blew the whistle on a lot of the steroid allegations, and by and large, he was truth, about everything, even though everyone else kind of was saying he was crazy and all these things. When we see when athletes are able to use performance enhancing drugs, we saw what it did for baseball. What do you think in terms of do you think that these are going to be now world records that are going to be broken potentially and different looks like that? What do you think?
I think we're going to see a lot of human excellence and performance that we have yet to see. However, we're going to still need to, there's going to be basically a curve where we need athletes who still have a lot of talent to buy into wanting to enhance their bodies. I think we're not just going to have, amateur athletes that become enhanced that just start breaking world records. There's no sacrifice for hard work, and the 10,000-hour rule to become an expert and master your field. You're still going to have to put in that time and effort. But what we're trying to do here is basically allow athletes to consult with clinicians to understand if there are programs that are specific to them that will allow them to train more rigorously and then perform at a more advanced level. So with the consultation of clinicians and physicians and scientists, we want to develop personalized enhanced programs for athletes to see where we can push the human body.
So the doctors are in on this.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're in on it, but we're working with them in order to provide a safe environment, to provide much more regulated administration, prescription, and just being able to perform enhancing the body in a more regulated and safe manner. Right now, it's done in the dark. We don't know where these enhancements are coming from. We
Yes.
don't know how athletes are administering it to themselves. And it's just a matter of fact that in the Paris Olympics, I think most people will agree that we will see at least one positive doping test.
Okay. All right. And then how often do you guys want to hold these games, Brett?
We want to run them every single year. We currently think the 4-year model doesn't do athletes well in terms of being able to perform and being able to exhibit their continued performance. So we're offering substantial cash prizes for winning gold and then breaking world records. The financial incentives are even more so great on top of that. So we really want athletes to be competing on a consistent basis and have the chance to do something great and be eligible for major financial incentives in addition to a few other things that we're engineering as part of the model every single week.
Yeah. And so when we spoke before, you said that the top athletes will be paid a comfortable income, universal based income, based on ranking, and the prize money will be substantial. I know that you don't want to get too much into what that looks like currently, because I know that you guys are still working on that. But do you, I know that we're going to talk a little bit more just in terms of the Olympics, what the players are actually paid. Most of that money comes from their sponsorships, not so much directly from their pay. You guys are looking to pay the athletes directly, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We want to create a standard level of income for athletes who continuously perform within a certain ranking. So whether it's top 16 or top 20, we want our best athletes to be taken care of, and we want them to be able to train comfortably and live comfortably in order to focus on, their the main thing that their life is built around, which is their craft of sports.
100%, 100%. We see, I know that you had mentioned before what your goals were with this. You said the largest goal is attracting top talent and showcasing both enhanced and natural athletes. The safety protocols, I think that's the biggest thing, that we've never seen. You said we want to pull the veil back and pull this out of the shadows. And I think that can be beneficial both from a standpoint of seeing exactly what the body can handle as well as what's safe. George, I know that, you've worked in football and, you've dealt with steroids, obviously, not you personally, but just people around you. What do you think the most exciting thing from these games could be?
I think it'll be interesting to see, like, my question to you, Brett, was just kind of the perception. You were a former Olympian, you did it the right way, and now you're like, I kind of want to make this more interesting. And so for me, how has the reception of your peers been, your former comrades that you competed with naturally? Are they like, damn, hey, Brett, were you always on the juice and like you were like beating it like all those documentaries and stuff? Or what are people in your circle saying to you about this idea?
Yeah, so for the record, I was always a natural athlete. There's a blood passport where I'd be able to, prove that today, given how they monitor different levels within, your blood and at the molecular level. So I was always a clean athlete. I always abided by the rules, and that's, what I chose to do and what I wanted to do. I had no desire to basically cheat and try to beat the system, which is what taking performance enhancements would have been doing should I have done it back in my career. I understood that, I was racing against individuals who were trying to beat the system. And I, understood that I was going to be disadvantaged if I, wanted to play unfairly. But being an athlete and having the character that I do, I was always, abiding by the rules. But understanding that, people are always going to beat the system, what I'd like to see is an even level playing field for other athletes. So how do you solve that? You create an environment where you basically allow athletes to choose whatever it is that they'd like to take. We've seen, the water list expand and contract with all sorts of different substances, and it's really uncertain how they choose which substances get allowed on there and which ones get taken off. So, given the understanding of that, we figured why not, just open up athletes to having full bodily autonomy, and if they choose to be enhanced, do it in a very safe manner. So that's what we've really set out to do here. And the safety of it is our athletes are of paramount importance when it comes to their safety. So we're not going to allow athletes who have an unapproved or an unendorsed program of taking enhancements without clinical supervision. So they're going to have to be approved by doctors and scientists before they're allowed to compete, and there will be regular ongoing analysis to make sure our athletes are healthy and safe.
Would you say a majority of the things that the athletes will be taking is for recovery? Because I figure that's one thing for especially older athletes, which I think I'm most excited for. I think you guys will really open the doors for a lot of 33-year-olds who, are struggling to compete with that 20-year-old. And now they actually have a shot to have those recovery tools to, exhibit the best performance. Is that kind of like, do you know specifics on like which types of enhancers they'll be most likely using?
So I'm not exactly sure which compounds are the best for which sports. I think a medical professional can answer that more directly, given an athlete's composition, what their training regimen's like, and what their competition style is like. But like you said, George, I think recovery is going to be something that'll be really interesting. I mean, I was exhausted 24/7 as an athlete training. There was not enough rest that I could get, even leading up to competition. But I remember during the taper period, which is about 3 to 4 weeks before you're competing, you allow your body to relax, you catch up on sleep. And I know if I had that during my training, my regular training schedule, it would have been amazing to see how I would have been able to, just knock every single practice out of the park, as opposed to, come to certain practices and struggle harder than others. So I think the recovery component of it and allowing athletes to be, more relaxed and approach training with a fresh set of muscles, a fresh mind. I think that recovery component of it will be really interesting to see. And then you have the strength component as well. I think for certain sports, it's not to say that you should prescribe whatever steroid it is for everyone. I think it's going to be interesting to see whether it's recovery or strength that should be focused on for athletes. So it's not essentially about saying go and take whatever it is that's out there that's been shown to improve your strength or shown to improve your recovery time. It's basically, understanding what each athlete needs, whether it's strength or recovery, on a molecular level, using the latest therapies that are out there today and the ones that have yet to be developed.
Okay. All right. And then also, you talk about your sport as a profession. How do you feel PEDs help swimmers? Like what benefits do you see? Because there's a lot of talk about oh well, PEDs don't really help this sport this much because muscles aren't that big a deal and those kinds of things. How do you feel PEDs specifically help swimmers?
I think, from my understanding of PEDs, I think oxygen absorption and utilization would be the most beneficial for swimmers. Not exactly sure which enhancements can do that, but I think there are a few that exist. And then in terms of sprint freestylers or sprinters in the sport of swimming, strength is important as well. So being able to build muscle mass and translate that to the technique that you need to have, the proper technique that you need to have in the water, the strength and the strength component of that will be really valuable. However, if you're a mid-distance swimmer or you're swimming long distance, it's probably more so beneficial to you if you were able to optimize your oxygen intake.
Got it. And then, so what do you think your perfect athlete is for this competition? What does he or she look like? I know George had mentioned the 33-year-old. Like, what's maybe your target age range for these games?
So we don't have a target age range. Everyone is welcome. We want this to be open to all the likes of folks who walk the world. However, there's going to be a qualification process. The open qualifiers at the beginning for anyone who wants to compete, to display that they are indeed eligible to qualify for the games. So that's the first step process. Once you display your signs of eligibility, you'll be invited to qualify to an in-person qualifying event. The use case for the ideal athlete, I think, is someone who is at the end of their career, who wants to understand, what they can do to continue to perform and continue to improve. So I think that's a use case for athletes who, feel like they have burnt out or plateaued. And then I also see athletes who have just missed an Olympic team, a world championship team, who don't want to let the opportunity end their careers just because they missed a team. I think being able to capture those athletes and assist them with career longevity, those are the two main buckets of folks that we will see.
Okay. And then of the 5 sports, do you see that possibly potentially increasing in sports that you would like to see, or do you guys want to just stick with your core 5 and move forward with that?
So we're going to launch with the core 5, and then from there we're going to see what the interest is, and if there's a lot of interest for sports that we have not yet to include, then we'll contract and expand the list and the event schedule. So nothing is ruled out yet. However, we've identified the sports that are the most popular, that have the most fanatics. So we're going to launch with those.
Okay. All right. And then do you all have a face for your endeavor right now? Possibly maybe somebody that might have been connected to PEDs in the past, or, what's your thought process behind having someone that's put out there as the face of your organization?
That's something we're working on right now. It's just the core team, President Aaron D'Souza, myself, and a few others. But between Aaron and I, both of us are kind of handling the media and spreading the word. In addition to, we built a great website. It's enhance.org, and there's a Discord channel now that we're really encouraging anyone who is curious about the movement or supports the movement to join and participate in daily discussions.
Okay. Follow the Discord page.
Yeah.
Follow the Discord page.
We'll put it in the link below.
Yeah, we'll have to put that in the link so you guys have that. So Brett, make sure you email me the Discord information. I'll make sure you get that in there. As far as revenue for this event, have you guys started looking at television providers and or just what space that you're going to be on, and then also sponsorships? What kind of sponsors are you guys looking to line up?
Yeah, so one of the main revenue buckets is going to be media and broadcasting rights, and we're in discussions with several well-known companies at the moment. So we hope to have some pretty exciting news about who those folks are in the coming weeks. Currently, the company is bootstrapped by private capital, and we're going to raise a small Series A round before becoming self-sufficient funding-wise.
Okay. All right. Now, I know we had spoken a little bit before about the money, but one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you and kind of pull apart a little bit more, the IOC professes to be a nonprofit that donates 90% of its revenue, all of its revenue, back to the governing bodies of the respective countries. And that's around $3 billion to also to the host country to help ease financial burdens. You talked about, wanting to keep this on locations that you guys create to help, not have that to be a financial burden on these cities. Do you notice anything that we talked about with the athletes, in terms of the money? Now, that's $3 billion going to these host countries. And then, we talk about the money that's going back to the governing bodies. How do you feel, the athletes are being taken advantage of currently in the current model with regards to Olympic athletics?
So I think the athlete needs to have more of a say to their governing bodies and to the IOC of what they exactly need, because the coaches and the governing bodies who receive these funds may be misappropriating them. The athletes should be the ones that decide, we need to be able to go to training camps. We need more training facilities, more coaching, more recovery, more physiotherapy. So it's really tough to say, given how many governing bodies there are on a local level and how funds are either being allocated properly or being misallocated. So we think at the top level, funds are not being spent in direct support of the athletes. And me being an athlete myself, I understand it is it's difficult, to be able to guide funds to a governing body, because ultimately it is not the athletes who are making the decision with regards to spending. It is the governing bodies doing what they think is best, and those folks who are usually at that level aren't the ones competing.
Yeah. George, did you have anything?
Yeah, no, because I feel like the IOC is going to really come after you guys, because it's something that can take the world by storm, in my opinion. What red tape have you seen early on here of like the IOC trying to throw in some like, yeah, no, we don't really like what you guys are doing here. Have you noticed anything yet? Or if you haven't, have other organizations or companies that have tried to do similar things like kind of led you on to, hey, watch out for this, this, and this?
Well, we haven't seen, a fully official statement by the IOC kind of acknowledging us, but we know we have been acknowledged. And what we do believe is, given the universe of testing that we're going to be doing on our athletes and the understanding that we're going to gain, given what enhancements are out there, we think we can be somewhat of a cooperative to the Olympics in the future. We're going to understand what the universe of enhancements are, and be able to share that with the Olympics, which hopefully they'll be able to reduce the amounts of cheating that is going on. Because while the Olympics still will have the water code enforced, we will not. So, we see this in the long run being either something that's mutually beneficial, but ultimately we are trying to create a better model than what the Olympics currently is.
Interesting. Do you you might want to come back to this, because this question now my marketing hat is on. So once you've had your first set of games, do you see anything in relation to possibly cross promotion with an Olympic champion? Like maybe it's the enhanced champion of the world at this sport versus the Olympic gold medalist, and kind of running them against each other and seeing kind of what that can look like, and the spectacle that it could be. I mean, I'm immediately thinking Ben Johnson versus Carl Lewis and their runs and showdowns that they had around the world. What do you think? Do you think that that's something possibly in the long run that you guys could do?
Yeah, we have a lot of creative ideas that are in development right now, and until we get a little further along, we're unable to release exactly what they are. But super exciting stuff that we have in the works.
I love it. I love it. Well, Brett, thank you so much again for the time today. Seriously, you never know who will answer a click on a link. So I really do appreciate you. I know that you've been traveling, doing a lot of traveling around the world. Any parting words that you'd like to say before we get you out of here?
Yep. For those who are interested, please log on to our website, enhance.org, and follow our Discord channel. And the instructions to join that are at the bottom of the homepage.
Love it. Brett Fraser from the Enhanced Games. Thank you so much again for being with us today and giving us a little bit more information on what the Enhanced Games are and how you guys look to take the world by storm. So really do appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Josh and George. I appreciate it. Great speaking with you.
Have a good one, man.
All right. Brett Fraser from the Enhanced Games. That's some good stuff, George. That's going to be real interesting. What exactly what that can look like, especially if this gets picked up, if this gets, if it's positioned in the right way.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
I'm stoked. I mean, one of the last things that I was thinking is there are plenty of PEDs that I've never understood why these commissions do not allow them. Is it really for the health and safety concerns? Because I don't think doing Toradol shots every goddamn week is proven effective, nor is Vicodin, right? So like their shit isn't
right.
squeaky clean either.
That's right.
But I'm like, at what point in time do we look at these as a bad thing? Because a lot of the recovery, bro, that's the big one.
Well, and look, when we talk about HGH and all that, that's one of the main things that was the proponent of HGH. But I guess my only thing is not necessarily the regulation, but if I'm using this versus you're using that, and we don't know necessarily what the benefit is, one or the other, I think that's kind of the main thing I would say.
Where they come down on it?
Yeah, where it's like, well, I was using this, and that's not nearly as powerful as what he was using. You know what I mean? Like, is everyone using the same stuff?
But it takes science like this and calculated, I mean, you're going to get metrics that you've never seen before. And I think that's the beauty of science in sports. Bring sports science back, for the love of Jesus Christ.
Oh, and on ESPN?
Yeah, and just have revolving hosts. I know it's probably ESPN's married with these hosts. I'm like, God, there's plenty of scientists. You know what I mean?
I did used to love
John
sports
Brinkus.
Science. John Brinkus. Thank you. I was trying to remember his name.
Yes.
You get claps for that. That was pretty impressive.
Shout out to him, man. That was a great show.
That was good. I did always used to love those. It's like he had a 0.3% of completion on this play. Like I used to.
Look at the arm angle here.
He had 3,000 revolutions on the ball.
Yes,
that's 2,000% higher than his closest competitor.
We look at the average Joe. He's throwing about 300 revolutions.
Oh my goodness, no, it's good stuff. But let's go ahead and get into some sports topics. We got about 30 minutes. I'm sure we won't go that far, but we'll get into a couple topics today. Let's start off in the NFL. George, Dalvin Cook has signed on with the Jets.
Yes.
My question to you is, do you think that this stunts Breece Hall's growth?
Yeah, of course it does. But I think running backs aren't important anymore, I guess, Josh. I mean, we've had this conversation. Like they're important to a certain extent. So like,
hey, well, look, you want me to tell you how important they are?
How important?
Ask those Jets, because they were world beaters before Breece Hall's knee snapped, and the second his knee went over, their whole season went off the rails. So running backs still have, especially the high level ones, and the one that they brought in, Dalvin Cook, is high level. My only thing is, you have a running back on a rookie deal. So it's like you don't have to bring in some, like if he's going to be the bell cow. Now, granted, it is off of a blown knee. That would be the only thing. But
yes,
I don't know. I don't know if Dalvin Cook is. Look, it helps Aaron Rodgers. It helps Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, if you watch him throughout his career, I mean, he's a great quarterback, but his bread and butter is off that play action. He's one of the best.
Yes.
Once the run's established. So I think it'll be, beneficial for them, but I'm so excited for this next Hard Knocks. That's a whole nother topic.
I didn't even think about that.
Because Dalvin hasn't been in.
That's right. I didn't even think about it.
If I had to guess, every fucking little young kid on the Jets is going to be like, Dalvin Cook. I remember watching Dalvin Cook, at Florida State, shit like that.
That's interesting. I wasn't even considering it.
They didn't show him
that. Yeah,
they didn't show him yet. So I'm excited to see how the team received him.
Yeah, that moment of we're gonna bring Dalvin Cook in,
and then seeing Breece Hall's face, like,
that's my position. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. That's a Pro Bowler at my position. Wait a minute. Has he been All Pro?
Dalvin Cook?
It's possible.
Yeah,
it's definitely
to be All Pro, man.
It's definitely possible because, think about it. Derrick Henry is on the other side, so he can be All Pro. Wait,
I don't think he's been an All Pro.
No, because All Pro is everybody. So Derrick Henry is involved. No, he probably hasn't.
Yeah, no, he hasn't.
He probably hasn't. He's been a Pro Bowler though.
Yeah, 4-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I know he's been a Pro Bowler.
Modern day Pro Bowl bullshit.
Listen, okay, we can talk about that. So do you still consider the Pro Bowl an honor? Do you still think that?
I didn't consider it an honor after players were literally not going, and Tyler Huntley's the starting quarterback this past year. Are you fucking kidding? How am I going to take this serious?
That's fair. That is fair.
Who says no to that's the part that I just don't get, and it's all money based. Because back in the day, based on what I had conversations with Sean Merriman, it was that paycheck meant a lot, based on old salaries.
Yeah.
So, but these days, the pay scale hasn't rose with inflation. It's fucked it.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, when it was in Hawaii, when it was in Honolulu every year, and John Madden used to have to get the bus over there by boat.
Yep.
I think it just had a different mystique to it. Similar to, listen, all of these all-star games, I feel like just aren't the same. They don't have the same feel. You don't literally when I was a kid, when I was growing up in middle school, high school, all the way up to college, All-Star Weekend was a stop what you're doing, you're going to watch. You know what I'm saying? Now it just doesn't. I don't know what it is. And I don't know how these organizations can really fix it, truthfully.
You got to let them hit each other hard again.
You
got to make it worth something.
Yes, it starts. It definitely starts with the players for sure. But even just, I don't know. Maybe they've commercialized it too much, and it's just kind of rubbed people, and they've kind of taken a step back. But I don't know. In other NFL news, Ezekiel Elliott has found a new home. He has officially gone to the New England Patriots, and he's already bought into the Patriot way. I didn't send you a picture of that, George. Do you have a picture of Zeke at the barbershop? Can you pull that up?
Zeke.
He is bought into the Patriot way, at least, from an image standpoint. Right after he signed his contract and right after he announced that he was going to the Pats, he shaved off all of his curls. Zeke Elliott had the wild hair and the different things, and he officially
he's back to clean cut Zeke.
He's taking it back to Ohio State, baby.
Look at this. I got the
there it is. That's him. That's him right there. Got the waves going though.
Yeah, I know. Those are dipping.
Hey, listen, that's a great start. I don't know how you come from all them curls straight down the waves that quick. I don't know. All right. Shout out to his barber. Barber's getting him straight. Now, my question is Ezekiel Elliott, is this new Zeke a Corey Dillon redo? And I say that because remember when Corey Dillon left the Bengals and went to the Patriots, Corey Dillon was supposed to be washed up. Like that was kind of like, oh, okay, they got Corey Dillon. But then he, helped the Patriots win multiple Super Bowls. You know what I mean? He was on the team that went undefeated. Well, almost undefeated. Yeah. But he definitely had a resurgence there. And if Zeke is actually about business and isn't about everything else that, was Jerry World, do you think that he could have a resurgence in New England this year?
Of course, man. Like that's all superstar athletes. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to regret it the most because I thought he would really fit. I mean, who gives a shit if Mac Jones is average? Like DeAndre Hopkins would have made him something. Zeke landed at the only place that I think can fix him. Like, there's something about the New England way that's kind of no nonsense. And here's the thing. Zeke started with the Cowboys, right? And I think after a certain amount of time, dude, you get comfortable. Like everybody respects you. Everybody loves you. Now he's got to go re-earn that respect. And I think it's going to be really good for his career because he is still, like when he gets in shape, he's a dominant running back. He's tough to tackle. And I guarantee you he's not going to miss a blitz pickup. And that's invaluable in the NFL, especially for a young quarterback like Mac. Like, he's like, oh, I got your back. I would very much so like Zeke Elliott next to me if I was quarterback.
Now, for those that don't remember, Corey Dillon, when he made the switch, his last year in Cincinnati, it was a little bit of an injury year, but he only had 541 yards. The next year when he ended up in New England, he had his highest year of his career. He had 1,635 yards that year. So the Patriot way, as much as it's bashed, you can't bash the success that it's had. And when guys do buy in and guys do just do their job, the success does tend to follow that. Now, to George's point, does Mac Jones help out the running back? Because, I mean, listen, if Mac Jones can't throw, we're loading the box. It just is what it is.
Yep.
But if Mac Jones does his job, or at least is a solid version of his job, I think the Patriots still have a very solid defense, very high-end defense, still have Bill Belichick. I think that they can, I said on another show, and he laughed at me, I think the Patriots can get to 11 wins. He's like, everybody getting to 11 wins this year? Yeah, everyone gets to 11 wins this year. I think the Patriots can get to 11 wins.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. They are going to, be relying on him a lot more than people think.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I think in people's heads, he's kind of that third down goal line back, but like, be ready to see him as an every down back for sure.
So Stevenson moves down the pecking order, you think?
I think Stevenson and him will, you got to keep him fresh.
Who's hot?
Got to keep the stable fresh. Yeah.
Who's hot? Oh, man. All right. So in another episode of Fans Behaving Badly, Chiefs fan, a Chiefsaholic, I think actually his tag is Chiefsaholic. Xavier Babudar, I think is how you pronounce his last name, was indicted on federal charges for robbery that helped fuel his fandom. George, this man was a menace. We've all wished to just travel with our favorite teams, go to every game. Listen, I will go. If I could go to every Capitals game and Redskins game that I could get to, I would go, right? My man was out here robbing banks and different things to continue his obsession.
Yes.
But it doesn't end there, George.
That's nuts, man.
He was indicted while out on bail. He placed a bet that ended up winning him $100,000. The bet was a parlay that Patrick Mahomes would win the MVP and that the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl. Paid out $100,000, and he went on the lam for 3 months. they were able to recover him.
Damn, what a fun 3 months he had.
This man is a menace.
I mean, he gets out, maybe. I don't know. He's the type of person who would like break out of prison. Like,
oh, for sure.
I don't doubt it.
For sure. He's definitely plotting. I promise you that. He cut his ankle monitor. So he had an ankle monitor. Once he got the 100 gracks, he was like, I'm out. He cut the ankle monitor and took off. Yeah, wow. he was in the wind for 3 months. All right, switching gears over to MLB. Did you hear anything about the Wander Franco situation, George?
No, I've heard the name recently, but like I didn't know what it was for.
I meant to send you these pictures too. So Wander Franco decided he wanted to give a sequel to Surviving R. Kelly. And the worst part of the whole thing is my man was dumb enough to put the underage girl that he was having situations with in his Instagram.
I do now remember this.
He is a 22-year-old that had signed an 11-year, $182 million deal after winning Rookie of the Year. And now it's looking as if he's not going to be playing baseball at all ever again. Yeah. And he's only 22. Yeah, this is the picture. This is baby girl. Baby girl's 14.
Oh my God.
Now, granted, okay. Now he is 22. You know what I mean? And it's bad. That's not, I won't say that's R. Kelly bad, but that is still bad. This is still a child. You know what I mean? 16, sadly, is the age of consent in some states.
Wander. 14 is bad.
But 14
is bad.
14, she's a step shy of middle school, dog. That's we're in uncharted waters.
Hey, man, like the money, do you think it was just like, I'm just going to take you here? I would assume that has to be it. Like,
well, the worst part is he has a wife and kids.
I did not know that. All right. No, I did not know that. He's a piece of shit.
He's got a wife.
That's really bad.
He's got a wife and kids already at 22. My man's living a life.
My man's fucking took Instagram. Like, she's on Instagram. Like, that's an Instagram story, bro.
It's just,
what are you doing?
Like, listen, I don't know. If you're gonna make a mistake, don't mistake it. Don't make the mistake out in public on Front Street. But that's not all for the Rays. The Rays had a long week last week. They also will now have to finish their season without their ace Shane McLanahan, who will be undergoing Tommy John surgery. He actually had posted an 11-2 record this year so far. The Rays had a rough week. They definitely had a rough week from first and to
Dude, this is the funniest meme in the fucking world.
I saw that one. That one's too good.
Wander Franco running to his local Walmart to grab the last second present for his girlfriend's quinceañera. That is comical.
Debo coming from down the hill. Oh my goodness. All right. Switching gears over to the NBA. George, not sure if you have this video or if you can get it quickly.
Zion or James?
No, James Harden.
Oh yeah, I got it, brother.
James Harden. We'll go ahead and cue the video first. That's the quinceañera.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
Okay, so you heard what James Harden said. This is my retort to that. James Harden has made $301 million already in his NBA career. That was between four teams. Outside of the $12 million that he made while he was a member of the OKC Thunder, the other $289 million were made on contracts that were signed off on by Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey is the GM that actually brought James Harden to Houston and gave him the money and believed in him as a franchise player. When, remember, at the time, James Harden was only a sixth man. He wasn't even a spot starter. That was Thabo Cephalosha that was starting at OKC. He was the sixth man. We wouldn't have known James Harden could become who he ended up becoming without Daryl Morey. So my retort and my only thing is, where's the gratitude? Where's the gratitude at? Like, that's crazy. The reports, actually, the NBA has been looking into this whole situation, and I guess Daryl Morey had given James the green light to opt in under the impression that he was going to be shipping him out, that they would find a trade partner. But listen, finding a trade partner and actually having one materialize are two totally different things. So that doesn't make me a liar, George. It makes me just a situation where, hey, nobody wanted to pay for you. Sorry. Guess you're going to be suiting up in Philly. My thing. So,
dude,
what do you think?
No,
George?
I mean, I didn't know it was like under predication of that. Like he signed.
That just happened today. That report, because the NBA was investigating it.
Yeah.
That report just came out today.
I mean, man, like you said, there's zero gratitude. The fact that he had to repeat himself, like, motherfucker, there's a lot of cameras there. They heard you the first time.
We heard you, bro.
We heard you. There's no need to repeat that, you know?
The emphasis was unneeded.
And he did this in China, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's
it was another
promo
tour.
Daryl Morey, like hardcore, I'll do it in the place that you respect, and you got in trouble for respecting. But man, James Harden may be done playing basketball.
I won't go that far. I mean, it's interesting because I was reading something yesterday that was saying that, Daryl Morey secretly is wanting Joel Embiid to request a trade so he can finally tear down the team and really do a rebuild. But I mean, listen, it's unfortunate, but there aren't many teams that are, one, going to give James Harden the ball in the way that he would want it, and then will be able to pay him and give him an opportunity to win. There's very few. There's not really any. So if that's your market, it's similar to Damian Lillard.
Dude,
Yes. Damian Lillard's market was Miami. So it's like, if Miami can't, or isn't willing to give up what Portland wants, there's no market. So the same thing goes back to James Harden. Like, what's your market? You don't really have a market.
And you're kind of toxic right now. Like, I think any owner is kind of like, damn, bro. Like, if I send you the wrong address to a location, he's going to be like, that owner's a liar. I just wanted to repeat myself. He told me to go to this location. It was actually this location. He's a liar. That's in the back of my head, that's a small scale. Like, he's nuclear, man. And like you said, he needs the ball a lot. And yeah, you got to get comfortable. Get in that, start a group chat with Carmelo Anthony and some other, superstars that have to embrace the corner three role, That's what you're going to be doing.
Wow, that's unfortunate. But okay, before we get out of NBA, we have to talk about the Luther Vandross of athletic sports. Who is Luther Vandross? Well, we got to remember again who Luther Vandross was. There was Big Luther and there was Little Luther. Big Luther had the curl, had the jerry curl, and was woo 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 and all that good stuff in the 80s and early 90s. And then Luther came out and said he had diabetes and his weight dropped and he was skinny Luther. He was still good, but he wasn't exactly who he said he was. So the athletic version of that happens to be Mr. Zion Williamson. Zion is now, he went from looking, like Big Papa Pump to being chunky again. And then now he's back looking like Big Papa Pump here. And yeah. George, what do you think?
That's a It's a healthy looking Zion. That's not a Taco Bell commercial Zion that we saw at the beginning of last season. I mean, you can look good. Like, fucking do something. I'm at that point with him.
This is it. This is it.
I will never forget the first NBA game that he ever played in, and he came in the third quarter, limited minutes, and dropped 17 points, and then the coach left him in. Like, that right there, I was like, oh, we have a superstar in the making, ladies and gentlemen. And I've just not been a fan of the way that the Pelicans have kind of held him back.
You think they've held him back?
I mean, it's the medical team, right? Like, I mean, I know he's not, he could not be at that optimal health level.
Yeah.
And when you're super young, I can see it, right? There's a lot of time for you to heal up here. Okay, this is the healing year, all right? This is why we've been playing limited minutes for the past 3 seasons, is to come out and win an MVP. Like, that's what I'm expecting.
You expect him to be on that level.
Anything less than that, I'm like, all right, like, you're not an Anthony Bennett, but like, in a sense, like, you're kind of headed down that road.
Hey, well, I'll say this, this is the year. This is the make or break year for him. The Pelicans, we've talked about it before. I think we talked about, well, I know that I've talked about it last summer when Ja got his money and Zion got his money. Ja had earned the money. He had earned it. You know what I mean? Now, granted, he had some injuries as well. He had been a superstar in the league, had highlights. Like, really bring me Zion Williamson's highlight package in the NBA. It's very, very limited.
Yes.
If you really think about it,
100%.
Like we could think about at least 10 Ja posters.
Yeah.
Period. Like 10, and that's me being friendly. Like,
that's no summer league either.
Yeah, he's got a lot more than that, but like, Zion hasn't really done a whole lot in the league. He's played and then he's gone back to sleep, and then he's played and then he's gone back to sleep. So the Pelicans were in a very, very, very delicate situation last summer because you have to give him that money. You have to give him the supermax because he's Zion Williamson. Right. You're still paying for what he could be, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then the other side of that was, if you don't pay him and he walks, then everybody else on your team and free agents are starting to look at you funny, like Brandon Ingram, like, so, like, what's good?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And all the other free agents that you're trying to attract are like, you ain't pay Zion? Well, if you ain't paying him, you definitely not going to pay me. So, you know what I mean? So they were in a very precarious situation last year.
And they were protecting assets.
They had to. But this is it. This is it. We can't be doing the Luther Vandross yo-yo and wait. Like, you're either in or you're not in. And if you're not in, you're not going to be here. That's just my thought on it.
And I say MVP, and I fucking mean it. Like, he has all, when it's on, he has all those tools.
Yeah.
And now what he needs to do is he needs to lead the Pelicans to, like, I'm not asking you to be the first seed in the West. I'm definitely not expecting you to be in the play-in game. Like, that's a failure to me.
Yeah.
Like, you better be for sure middle of the pack or competing for the top. Or else this Pelicans team
they got to crack it.
They're just destined. There's, in a way, similar to the Hornets. It's just, those teams down south just can't seem to get out of their way.
I think the Hornets are going to be interesting this year. Now that Michael sold the team, that still hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Still hurts. But I'm interested to see what they end up doing, especially with their new draft pick, if they get better. But yeah. I mean, this is the year for Zion. It's now or never. It's definitely piss or get off the pot at this point.
Yep.
And finally, we got to talk about Sage Steele leaving ESPN. Was this any kind of a surprise? I mean, she has a multi-million-dollar lawsuit out against ESPN. So, I mean, George, I don't know how.
What's the lawsuit about?
The lawsuit was about her, for like, basically ESPN encroaching on her First Amendment rights, because I want to say she was suspended or like secretly suspended because of some things that she had said on a podcast.
Jay Cutler's
Jay Cutler
about COVID. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
it was about COVID. It was about COVID.
Yep.
And so, that's basically what happened. And now it's like, all right. Good luck out there, girl. I'll say that we won't miss you, Sage. It is what it is.
Yeah. Hey, I've always heard it, Josh, and I know you have, but the power that mouse has, aka Disney.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They have this level of power that I can never have fathomed. And it's like if every sports reporter, can take that into consideration. Take that into consideration before you sign up with them, because I think it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago when they had that merger. Or no, it's been a while. Disney
We're talking about ABC and ESPN.
No, I'm talking about Disney and ESPN. We're talking since the early 2000s, right? There's an ESPN zone inside in that Disneyland.
Yeah,
area.
I mean, it's probably been about between 10 and 15 years, I'd say. It's probably been about 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, but I mean,
since they jumped in,
and they're always wanting to stay fresh. They cut a lot of people. It's never a surprise. It's kind of like a known thing. Like, it's
sad. They've cut more than fat. They've cut to the bone in a couple of these spots where it's like, dang, that's a good part. Like Neil Everett, that one hurts. Like, it's like, not Neil Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like certain people it was similar to when Dan Patrick didn't come back. Yeah. Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen, something about that old guard. Yeah, I mean, like when Scott Van Pelt goes, that's going to be a sad day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, just certain people are ESPN.
Yeah, and so to me, are they losing money because there are a lot of other streaming type content going up?
For sure.
We're competing with them right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Is it that they're losing money, or is it that people, once they are established at that level on ESPN, they just become too expensive? They become way too expensive to keep and know that, we can funnel in new talent. They're no different than acquiring rookies and having a whole bunch of rookie deals.
I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying that basically the reason that they're cutting, what they're doing is they're cutting. Oh, it was Ryan Clark. He was saying that they're cutting a lot of people that only can speak on one thing. So like a lot of the people that, they specialized in this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But for me, I'd much rather have, now maybe not pay them as much as you were paying them, but I'd much rather have someone that was very dialed into this one thing.
Yes.
I'd rather have an authority in this one thing than a guy that's really smart on this and then he aight on like 5 other things. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have the guy that's an authority and he's very entertaining or she's very entertaining than having someone that's aight across the board.
I mean, I just haven't seen, Josh, any sort of creative energies being put into new fun shows that we can fall in love with. It's the same fucking thing.
It is
every goddamn day.
It is,
and to me, that's why people like Barstool crush them as far as like fun, entertaining content that's still sports related.
Yeah, but
coming from so many different avenues and outlets that it doesn't feel like this
contrived.
Yeah. And trust me, I love my nighttime ESPN. You watch ESPN for an hour, you know everything you need to know in sports.
Yeah, yes.
I'm a fan of that.
Yes.
Let's keep that. But let's
there's still
new shit in.
Yeah, there's definitely still the authority in that. Fox Sports isn't they're not running them down, or no one else is gonna run them down in terms of that. But
like the rewind episodes, like with like Kobe, Peyton Manning doing the
and then the was it the detail. Those are really good.
John Gruden's listen.
Shout out to John Gruden.
Fucking so replace that motherfucker. You can do that with all the new quarterbacks coming. Like, to me, like that's fun, creative shit.
Yes, that you're not getting anywhere else.
Yep.
And they have access to those guys. So having, utilizing your access. I think that's the main thing is like
100% that.
Yeah, like because we don't have access. Like, trust me, when I get access, this thing's going to be on a whole nother level, but like I don't have access. So I got to make it work for what I have. But when you have the access, it's like, bro, like you literally can do anything and they'll do it because you're them. You're ESPN.
Yes.
You're the thing. So, is what it is. All right, well, we've come to the end of another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels. Please also make sure you download these episodes. We need to get those download numbers up, so make sure you download some episodes. But we have a lot of things coming up. Fantasy football is going to be, over the next few months. Lord Jesus, help me.
Yeah.
George and I might be going to a USC game soon.
Yes. This weekend.
Is that this weekend?
It's this weekend, Josh. I can be doing some man on the street stuff for both Gridiron Junkies and the American Fan.
Shoot. I did not realize it was this
It's week 0. It's a dumb thing. Yeah, they're playing early.
All right. I'll have to see on that. But yeah, exciting things to come. Shout out to our sponsor, Cocoa Love. Shout out to Cocoa Love. And yeah, that's it.
I
ain't got nothing else. So see you guys next time.
Subscribe.
Oh.